Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to be talking about the features of and reviewing the Vivoactive HR from Garmin. Stay tuned. This mid-range watch from Garmin is packed full of features. It has an optical heart rate monitor on the back, it has a wonderful colour touchscreen display. It has a barometric altimeter. It's water resistant to 50 meters. It has a battery life of about 7 to 8 days or about 12 hours if you're in activity tracking mode. And of course it has GPS. Some of the software features they've added to this series of watch is the sleep tracking, which I'm going to talk about a little bit more later on. The Move IQ, which detects when you're doing an activity like walking or running or cycling without actually going into that activity mode. It uses less power, and it won't record as many things like heart rate and so on, and pace and all the kind of details, but it's a nice way to track extra little bits of activity throughout the day, like if you bike for 10 minutes to the shops or something like that. And it's got the move alerts as well, so it's sort of a timer that goes off detecting that you haven't taken any steps for a while. Of course it also has all the normal features of any smartwatch activity tracker, so it's going to track your steps, it's going to track how many staircases you've gone up and down each day, things like that. It's also going to have all the normal features of a watch, like setting alarms and timers and stopwatch and so on. This is a sort of mid-price range bracket for the Garmin watches, coming in at about £180. It can vary a bit depending on discounts and things like that, and probably around $200 for those of you in the US. So there are many watches out there that are cheaper, but it also has a lot of the features of some quite expensive watches, so it's quite well priced and gives you a whole range of different things. So let's talk about some of the features of the watch now. This is one of the apps that you can download from the Garmin website. There's lots of great apps, and you can change the watch face, you can change the widgets that are available. If we press this button here on the right, we go into activity mode. You can set which activities are here, and you select the one you want, or if you press it again it will activate the run one. We're indoors now, so it won't connect to the GPS, but it's very quick at connecting to the GPS. Oh, it actually did. When it's got GPS in the corner there, you know you're ready to go. This is one of the fastest watches at connecting to the GPS. My Vivoactive 3 takes a lot longer. Sometimes it does it quickly, but normally takes a lot longer. As you see, we've got three things on this screen, but you can customize this completely. This is another downloaded app from the Garmin website. You've got your heart rate zones there. If you hold this button, you'll go to the run settings, and then you can control how many data screens you have and select what fields you have in each screen. You can change it to be one of the Connect IQ apps that you've downloaded, or all the other different things. So lots and lots of options. It's fully customizable, really, really good. Actually a bit more flexible than the Vivoactive 3, which I really, really like. You can set up the laps to be customizable, so when you're doing 400 meter laps, things like that, or you can have them every mile or kilometer. You can select alerts so that you can set up a run walk type of thing, or an alert for pace, so you keep inside a pace range or below a certain pace range, or below a certain heart rate or above a certain heart rate. Or you can have timer alerts for when you want to sip water or take in nutrition, so it's really, really good for that. If we go back there to the main screen, you've got your normal things, you've got steps, you've got your day, how many calories you consumed, the normal things you expect, intensity minutes, so you can track how much activity you've been doing, your last run, and look at various other runs. If you hold this button on the main menu, you can change the watch faces, and it comes with a few built in, or you can download more. You can go to your clocks and set your time and your alarms and your stopwatch, things like that. Let's talk about the things I most like about this watch. One of the big points is the optical heart rate monitor, which I find highly effective and is quite accurate as well. It's not going to be quite as accurate as a chest strap heart rate monitor. So if you're doing interval workouts and things like that, and you're interested in getting highly accurate heart rate readings, and you're changing pace all the time, doing 400-meter repeats, that sort of thing, then you might want to get a heart rate strap. It's going to be far more effective than this. But for the price and for it being on board, built into the watch, it's highly effective. And it's great for tracking your heart rate throughout the day in the morning, so you can see how recovered you are and things like that. That's one of my favourite features of the watch. The GPS tracking I found to be really reliable and really accurate compared to lots of other watches. And for a really detailed description of all the accuracy features of this watch, go over to DC Rainmaker's channel and his website, where he has very thorough in-depth reviews getting into all of that. Another of the things I really like about the watch is the sleep tracking. That's a very useful thing to monitor how much sleep you're getting each night. I was really impressed by the Garmin support. I was away on a ski trip. At the end of a ski session, I was very stupid and took the watch into a sauna with me. I just forgot that it was on my wrist, because you can wear it all the time when you're in the shower or swimming, or I should never take it off. So I forgot it was on my wrist, and it completely died. Don't ever go into a sauna with one of these watches. It will destroy it. It's just too hot. And I contacted them to find out if I could get it repaired, because it was a lot of money, £180, and they actually sent me a fixed one. I sent it off, and it didn't charge me at all. So fantastic support from Garmin there. I was very impressed by that. So, on to some of the things that I dislike about the watch. Whilst I really like the sleep tracking feature, it has some bugs, some problems with it. It sometimes doesn't detect that you've actually woken up, and it can be 9:30 AM and it still thinks you're sleeping when you're making your breakfast and things like that. It also sometimes detects that you're sleeping when you're just sort of sitting down resting, when it's inside the period of time that you select as your sleep hours. So when you set up your profile, you say that you sleep between 10 PM and 8 AM, for example, and during those hours, if you're still up at 11 PM and you're just sitting down resting on the sofa, it might track that as sleep, which is a bit annoying. So it kind of shifts the data a little bit. That's one of the dislikes. Also, they turn off the backlight during these sleep hours. So if you're actually out on an activity, even on a run or something, you have a late night run, and you haven't changed your sleep hours, then the backlight won't actually turn on when you turn your wrist. That can be really, really annoying. There's also the design of it. It's a bit bulky looking, not very, very stylish. I used this for about a year, and I've actually upgraded to the Vivoactive 3, which I'm going to do a review of as well. I find that watch a lot more stylish in comparison. The heart rate accuracy is fairly good most of the time, but it can be better, and actually I find it is better in the Vivoactive 3. Also, when it displays the average heart rate reading, that can be quite out, I find. Your heart rate can be low, like 52 for most of the day, and it says that the average for that is 58 or something, for example. So I don't quite know how they calculate the lowest. It's your resting heart rate level, but it's not entirely accurate. One of my dislikes about the watch is that it doesn't support Garmin Connect workouts. They're such an incredible feature of the Garmin Connect app, where you can construct any workout you want, and it doesn't support them, which is unfortunate. My final dislike of the Vivoactive HR is the backlight not always working. It seems to work most of the time, but sometimes it just doesn't pick up the sort of wrist flick motion that activates it, and that can be very annoying when you're running. So in summary, who is this watch for? Well, it's for your fairly serious runner, or someone that's really keen to track lots of their activities, but not someone that's likely to be doing a very strict running program of lots of workouts. The fact that it doesn't have the workouts feature is a little bit annoying. That's something that some of the dedicated running watches that are a lot cheaper have, like the Forerunner series, where you can customize workouts in Garmin Connect and then upload them to the watch. That's a really, really great feature, and that's not available, unfortunately, on the Vivoactive HR. But they couldn't add everything to it, or it would just sort of be give no reason for buying the more expensive watches. It's not great for tracking swimming. You can track laps in the pool, but you can't track things when you're outside in open water. It doesn't do that well at all. There are some slight ways to get around it, like folding it up and having it in your swimming hat. You can kind of track some activities when you're out in open water, but it's a bit of a workaround, and it's not an actual feature of the watch. Also, if you do triathlons, it doesn't support triathlons that well, unlike the Fenix series. Will be far better for that. So it's for someone that's quite keen on their activities and running and wants a bit more data than some of the cheaper watches can afford. It actually does a lot. It's for a mid-range price. It kind of is a jack of all trades and really covers a lot of things, which makes it fantastic for all but the very serious of athletes. Is it worth the money? I think it is. I think for someone that's got a bit of money to spend on a high-quality watch that does a lot of things, you know, all the day-to-day tracking and sleep tracking and heart rate monitoring and pretty accurate GPS, it's great for all those things. I love it. It's been a great help in my running and my training throughout the last year or so.